Welcome to part 2 of the Ultimate New York Walking Tour. If you missed part 1, you can get that link in the description or it's popping up on screen right now. In part 1, we walked across the Brooklyn Bridge at sunrise into downtown Manhattan and made our way to Stone Street. And now in part 2, we're going to start at Battery Park,
which is the most expensive zip code in America, right?
It's the most expensive zip code for renters in America.
Oh.
It's the most expensive zip code to rent, Battery Park City, which is right next to Battery Park.
Yeah, and it's very pretty.
So first thing we're going to do is explore Battery Park, starting with this really awesome World War II memorial.
I walk this road, it takes me home where skies are blue.
So this memorial has the names of almost 11,000 people who lost their lives at sea during World War II.
No matter when, no matter what.
And then you can just walk along the river and you actually get a pretty decent view of the Statue of Liberty without paying the $19 it takes to take a ferry over there.
Yep.
As you walk the edge of Battery Park, you end up at Castle Clinton. And what's cool about Castle Clinton was this originally was an island with the fort out here that protected the island of Manhattan from,
ships and stuff.
Intruders. But since then, they have filled the land out to where the castle is no longer on an island, and you can just
see it.
See it. You can actually come buy your tickets to Statue of Liberty here. Battery Park also has a few other statues, memorials, art pieces, a really cool glass carousel. So after that, you can walk right across the street to Bowling Green Park, which is where the Wall Street Charging Bull is. So as you walk to the Charging Bull, you actually walk right by the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian, which if you have time, I would highly recommend just going in there real fast and taking a look at the ceiling. It's beautiful. So this is the New York Charging Bull. I think it's famous just because it's famous.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't understand the appeal, but whatever.
But there is always a line of people here that just line up and somebody walks up, takes their photo, and then next. But recently there was an art piece that was added to it called the Defiant Girl, who's standing in defiance against the Charging Bull.
Against the man.
And they ended up keeping it as a permanent piece of this exhibit.
As they should.
So we walked past the bull, now we're walking up Broadway towards Wall Street and the New York Stock Exchange. So this is the New York Stock Exchange and Wall Street, which honestly is only exciting because it's famous,
yeah.
Wall Street. But what is exciting to me is right next to the Stock Exchange is the Federal Hall, which is actually the site of America's first inaugural address. It's where George Washington was sworn in as president.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So after Wall Street, we're going to walk to the Oculus, but on the way you can actually stop by Trinity Church because there is a graveyard next to it that has the grave of Alexander Hamilton. So Alexander Hamilton was one of the framers of the Constitution. He is also on the $10 bill, and he was the first Secretary of Treasury. So on his tomb and on a memorial over here, people throw pennies.
Yeah.
Now we're going to wind our way through Financial District to the Oculus. Oculus is just one of those feats of architecture that is just needs to be seen.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful building that cost New York City $4 billion.
Basically, they needed to put PATH trains to New Jersey and a subway station here, and then they thought, oh, we'll just make it a touristy thing too. So it's like really expensive stores and just a beautiful building.
So we have brought many people here, and nobody has been disappointed with just the awe of architecture that it is. Plus, if you need to use the restroom or get a snack, you can do that here too.
And it's all nice.
Not only is the Oculus just worth seeing on its own, you actually don't have to go out of your way to see it because it's actually right in front of the 9/11 Memorial, which is our next stop. So we're not actually going to talk about the 9/11 Memorial a whole lot. It's just something that if you're in New York City, you have to see at least once.
Yeah, it's very moving and overwhelming.
One thing that is easy to miss at the World Trade Center Memorial is directly across the street from the South Tower is Liberty Park. And there is an art piece here that was originally in the plaza of the World Trade Center, and whenever the buildings collapsed, it fell on this art piece, and it was recovered from the rubble and then put in this park as a memorial to 9/11.
Yeah, which is amazing. Like, it survived pretty well. I'm shocked, really.
And now on to see One World Trade, which is the tallest building in America.
Yeah.
But its height is actually more admired from a distance because the surrounding buildings kind of make an illusion that it's not that tall.
Yeah, until you get out a little bit and see how tall it actually is.
Yeah. But there's one thing that you can't do from a distance, and that is walking up to the side of it and just looking straight up.
Yeah.
That view is breathtaking every time, and I've done it at least 10 times. What's amazing about this view is that the way they built the towers, if you walk up to the edge and look straight up, it looks like it never ends and just reaches up into the heavens.
It's wild.
And after you see One World Trade, if you need to use the restroom, Brookfield Place is a great public restroom you can use. And now we are going to do the next leg of our journey and head uptown. But that's going to be part 3 of the Ultimate New York Walking Tour. If you want to see the exact route we took in this tour, there's a Google map in the description. So we'll see you in the next video as we start heading uptown.